Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino. I don't know what normies think about Star Wars Outlaws. To me, just watching the trailer, it's just like, I'm numb. Star Wars is completely dead to me. I'm completely disconnected from it. You know, as a brand, as a franchise, as a hobby, as a way of life, you know, Star Wars was so special. It used to be so important. Anytime you would watch a Star Wars film, or even read some of the books, there was a sense of it being an event. There were times I could watch a Star Wars film, even if I was by myself watching it, whatever medium I was watching it through. It felt like the entire world was watching it at the same time that I was. And that's gone. It's completely been destroyed. It didn't have to be like this. Like, Disney first bought Star Wars and Marvel because they were boy brands and because Iger wanted to expand Disney's portfolio to appeal to boys as well, because Disney was seen as a girl brand, you know, a princess brand. So he wanted to bring more boys in and make them feel more welcome and invited. What happened? As soon as they got it, the activists, the feminists, the LGBTQ sociopaths turned both Marvel. It took them a little longer for Marvel, but it turned both Marvel and Star Wars into girl brands. Particularly with Star Wars, they turned it into a wine-on brand. I did a video complaining about how I think Andor was going to be coming out, and they did these ads where I think they teamed up with Google Chrome, I think it was. Google Chromebook, I think they teamed up with, and they did this rebel mom ad where the wife of the family was the one telling the husband, Star Wars Andor is going to be coming on tonight. Let's watch it. And the husband was like the one going, huh? Star Wars? It is? I didn't realize it was coming out tonight. What about the kids? Who's going to take care of the kids? He's like, I'm going to put the kids to bed. We'll watch it together. And it's like, it's her thing. It's for the mom, rebel mom, not the dad or the son. It's absurd. So I'm looking at this trailer, right? The Star Wars Outlaws trailer. And it's like, what's the point of having a woman version of Han Solo? And that's obviously all this person is. A Disney-fied version of Han. Because the trailer looks fine in the sense that it's got the aesthetic of Star Wars, but it's completely soulless and empty. And it's just on the face of looking at this cosplayer, this, I guess, woman, supposedly just being Han. And it's like, well, why not just have Han Solo? Do a Han Solo game. It's like, there should be a reason to have a woman in this role. That doesn't have anything to do with... The thing is, okay, so what's the point of this if all she's going to be is a bland, feminist body type approved, defeat the male gaze version of Han Solo? If she's a woman, she should have womanly qualities. She should be appealing. She should have something that separates her from Han Solo. It's like, if you just have her look and act just like Han Solo, then what's the point? You could just make a Han Solo game. It's like when activists push trans women on straight men and even more insidiously on lesbians. You know, why would a straight man or a lesbian want to have sex with a trans woman when there's actual real women in the world? Like, what would they get out of having sex with trans women? Like, what would be the point of trans women? Like, as far as for someone who's not trans, someone who's outside of it, like a man, straight man, a lesbian, trans women offer nothing to them. Like, women are the real deal. Actual women are who, like, straight men and lesbians want to connect with, not a guy who thinks he's a woman. Like, what's the point? And that's the problem with agenda, because it's not for the person that it's being pushed on. It's for the people pushing it. So, you know, so a straight man is expected to make a man who thinks he's a woman or just pretends he thinks he's a woman feel better about himself. Lesbians are expected to have sex with men just because these men say they're women. And because they're women, feminists really pressure them into, like, you need to see trans women as actual women and you need to validate them and fuck them or get fucked by them. It's, you know, there was this story, right, of this dating site for lesbians where women were being banned just for putting no trans women in their bios. And so when I look at this, I can think her name was Cat Vest. It's just trans Han Solo, trans Solo. Like, what's the point of her being a woman if she's supposed to just be a man? She's clearly not supposed to be sexy. She's just as strong as a man, and whenever they show her fighting people, it's just as lame as MJ's fight scenes. She's moving around like a little old lady, and these little weak kicks she gives this huge henchman, and we're just supposed to take this seriously. Nobody can take this seriously. But as lame as it looks, it doesn't matter to Ubisoft. Because the women working on the game and the men who are too cucked to stand up for themselves or other men are just doing this to satisfy their agenda. It's the reason why I keep bringing up the trans stuff in the first place about this. Because this isn't about reality. It isn't about what the fan needs. It's about what the activists want. Let's say when the fan needs, the fan could need to see a story about a man overcoming, trials and tribulation. Again, men are largely interested in the hero's journey, whereas women are interested in the princess journey. Women could come to this stuff, enjoy it, and appreciate it, but it's not for them, and they usually don't relate to things in the same way men do, and that's fine. So let's say you're a single man looking for love, right? Or just lust, just to slake your appetite. But the way activists frame things and invade these spaces, you're supposed to consider the feelings of another man who, for some reason or other, wants to be a woman. And if you don't make that person feel better about themselves by ignoring your own feelings and your own orientation, you're the problem, not them. These people are unreasonable. They're the ones with the mental health issues, narcissism, anxiety, depression. But you're supposed to abandon who you are to validate the feelings and issues of what someone else claims they are. Star Wars doesn't mean anything to feminists or activists. The only reason why they're working on it is to destroy it. They hate straight white men. They hate straight men, period. A normal man who makes a girl version of Han Solo would put her opposite of Han in an adventure. She'd be a fun, cute, or sexy rival for him. But she would have her own thing, her own style. They might do these little digs at Solo, kind of the classic girls can do anything that boys can, but in the end, Han and Chewie would still be the ones that saved the day. And he'd get the girl. Or she'd do some kind of good-natured double cross on him, and Han would be like, well, I'll catch you next time. And it'd be fun and good-natured, and you wouldn't feel like Han was being shit on just for being a man and popular with the male audience. You're not going to feel like you're being lectured by someone with an axe to grind, someone who's annoyed at you for liking Han, the icon, more than this random chick they made up to be Han's rival and ultimately his better. You look at this Outlaws, right? This Star Wars Outlaws, and it looks like it's between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which is cool. That seems cool. That seems interesting. You got Han there. He's actually, frozen in the carbon block and all that stuff. But you can't take it seriously because I don't know who this person is. It's this agenda-driven character that they've made up, right? She's unattractive and bland, and yet she's being all snarky and talking tough in front of Jabba, right? And so Jabba's not a menace anymore. And again, you look at her, you look at this bland, unattractive, manly-jawed, so-called woman that they've made, this fake cosplay version of Han Solo, this supposed female version of Han Solo. And Jabba's not interested in that. He's not going to strip her down and have her washed up, chained up, put her in a bikini. None of that's going to happen with this chick. Jabba's going to be like, this might as well be a dude. I ain't got time for this. So me, like I said, I don't know what normies are saying. This might do well, relatively speaking, because it does have the Star Wars aesthetic, and normies don't care about Star Wars like that. They don't have that connection to it like a lot of us do with the hero's journey and stuff like that. They don't care. So I look at it though, and I see just activists. I can see the activist hand in it. A lot of people might not even notice it anymore. Like a lot of us who talk about this all the time will see it, but normal people probably won't. They'll just say, oh yeah, you can't miss the fact that it's clearly girl Solo. A lot of normies might go, okay, that's cool. Even though she looks bland, they'll probably be just like, okay, looks like she's shooting and fighting. That looks cool. Fine, whatever. But me, I'm just looking at the sensitivity readers. I'm looking at the trans women. I'm looking at the non-binary people. I can see all the choices they made to make this about them and their agenda. Kay Vess is just a feminist version of Han Solo. They didn't make her sexy. They put a woman in the lead of a big budget Star Wars game, and she's not even as attractive as the woman they modeled her after. They purposely shrunk her boobs. They took away her hips and her ass and her curves. Again, they gave her that MJ jaw, that man jaw. And they did this to make her as unattractive to men as possible. And it's what I've said before. I've said this several times. Activists, feminists, LGBTQ, they telling themselves when they make these choices to uglify these female characters, when they give the woman a manly jaw and they take away her tits and ass, they're telling you that the best way to defeat the male gaze is to make a trans woman. And trans women, real people suffering from dysphoria, not these weirdos pretending so that they can prey on women and children, which I believe, as most of the people saying that they're trans these days. Trans women, real trans women with dysphoria, want to look as much as real women as possible. They want the curves. They want the tits. They don't want the manly ass jaw. They don't want to walk like a dude. They want to switch their hips when they walk. They want to look and feel and seem like a woman. Pretending to make women feel better about themselves by making bland, unattractive, manly-looking women is more important to activists and the gaming press than selling a game to the largest fan base possible. Looking at this trailer, I don't feel anything. Like I keep saying, we have all of these great graphics, but what are they using it for? You can show every bead of sweat on a character's face now, but so what? You'll see it on the face of a woman who's probably not actually a woman. They're going out of their way to make ugly, unappealing female leads, and then daring you to complain about it. And once again, you get the ugly, unattractive black woman in the story. Are there any good-looking black women in Star Wars? I didn't see the Rise of Skywalker, so I can't remember if the girl they pawned off on Finn was cute or not. But anyway, this looks like Star Wars physically. It looks like this is going to be a big adventure. But it doesn't have that spiritual quality that Star Wars has. It doesn't feel like an event. It doesn't feel like it's special. It's like the difference between watching the NBA and the WNBA. I think in most sports you can watch both the men and the women play in their respective leagues and it doesn't suffer. Like I can watch women play football, aka soccer, and it's no problem. I don't think about the men when I watch them. And a lot of times I actually prefer watching women in sports than the men. And things like, tennis, gymnastics, diving, swimming, that kind of thing. But with basketball, it's the way men play versus the women that's such an obvious difference. And that's how it feels to watch the takeover of Star Wars. Everything looks and feels diluted and tainted. The adventurous spirit is gone, the sense of wonder, overcoming odds, fun characters, like attractive women. All of that is antithetical to the feminist agenda. And I hate to have to say it like that. The feminist agenda. But they screw with everything. You have women Imperial commanders now and women stormtroopers. And I guess they passed the Bechdel test because I know they had that scene with Trans Solo, the female Admiral Akbar creature, and the woman Imperial commander, and they were all in this bar talking about, some crime or something. And it's like, look, women have been in important roles all throughout Star Wars since the very beginning. But the difference now is that for feminists, that isn't enough. That's not enough for them. They want everything. They go too far. They push too far. They've destroyed comics. They've destroyed a man's life and drove him to a tragic end over some girl who had the ick. These spaces have been corrupted. And now you have, gamers are being compared to some guy or guys going around New York punching women in the streets. They're being compared to them because gamers like a sexy female character from an upcoming Korean game. Then feminists who have taken over these spaces do this thing where if you call them out, it means you hate women. But feminists don't care about women. Feminists hate men. They're not doing the things they've done to comics, Hollywood, and video games because they give two shits about women. They do this to take away men's spaces. They're trying to radicalize men, I guess, try to get us angry and loud and like have this incel uprising where we threaten to destroy democracy. Get Trump reelected. The truth is, this radicalization, this destruction of democracy and of, safe spaces or whatever, that's what feminists are doing. They're literally driving people to kill themselves. And they're pretending like calling them out and criticizing them is the real danger. There may have been a time when feminism was actually good and a positive force in society. But like with Star Wars being great and relevant, that time was long, long ago. Now